The rain stopped. The river dried up. The people of the city had to leave or die. It is said a crow came to my ancestor and taught her to live in this new land, the desert. Others in the city denied this offer, for it was too much to humble themselves to a bird. They could not learn from such a lowly creature. But my ancestors believed it was no shame to walk with crows. So we were born the Kakri, the ones who left the city and embraced the desert as our home. Jason's mouth fell open. He had assumed that the Kakri were some sort of nomadic tribal people, and maybe they were. But Bailea was telling him that they had once built the greatest city in the Sunlit Lands. "Whoa," Jason said. "Are they planning to rebuild it one day?" Bailea leaned on her staff. "In the desert, there is no room for a lie, Jason. You must walk either with truth or with death. The truth tells us that we cannot rebuild unless the water returns. It is not the choice of the Kakri people whether to rebuild. We must allow the cherubim to tell us if such a time returns. In the meantime, every year at the meeting of the third and fourth spheres, my people congregate here and sing about the fall of old Ezerban and tell stories." They rested in the shade of the fallen wall, and Bailea showed him where the Kakri would gather, near the statue. Night settled in. The stars, strangely, did not appear like at home, the brightest first in the darkest parts of the sky. They climbed up from the eastern horizon, bright and multicolored, a blanket of galaxies being pulled over the world. From the north came a small, warm moon, faster and brighter than Earth's, racing ahead of the stars at an angle like a surfer before a wave. Somehow, while Jason had been watching the stars rise, the Kakri had entered quiet as breath and gathered before the statue. Half stood beneath the oncoming stars, the other half beneath the moon. Jason's breathing quickened. These silent warriors terrified him. "Do not fear," Bailea whispered. "On this night there is no violence among the Kakri. It is a night of mourning our lost city and celebrating our marriage to the desert." When the stars and the moon met, a song began among the moonside Kakri. "Where is the fountain which brought joy to the city, clean and clear at its heart?" There were no instruments, just voices. The Starside Kakri answered, also in song. "It has been carried away, the water spilled to the sand, the water given to the sun." The song, beautiful and strange, reached out to Jason like the tendrils of a plant opening in the morning dew. He felt himself alive, transported, and filled with a deep, melancholy sadness. When the song ended, a woman ran among the singers, dressed as an enormous crow. She invited them into the desert. She told them they could become a part of it, that she would teach them how to thrive. She would teach them, she said, how to become people again, and not the corrupted creatures which had come to live in this city. They must leave everything behind, their houses, their possessions, their friends and family members who would not embrace the desert and the wisdom to be found there. As the crow said these words, those near her cheered and embraced. They drew off their dull capes and coverings, revealing beautiful, brightly colored outfits beneath. They turned to their neighbors and shouted the news, inviting them to the desert, and color rippled through the crowd. Bailea threw off her own cloak and grabbed Jason's hand. "Come, now we dance." Musical instruments came out. Jason's favorite was a stringed instrument Bailea called a bitar, and the Kakri danced in a whirling, leaping style. Those who jumped highest and whirled fastest moved toward the center of the crowd. Jason tried to imitate them, but found himself on the outer limits of the dance with the smallest children and most infirm elders. At times a Kakri man would appear, laughing, and try to teach him how to leap higher. A drink that tasted like honey and goat's milk was passed around, and a crowd gathered to watch Jason take his first sip.